Hi friends, welcome to your mat today. I'm Val and today we'll be going through a very quick and simple flow that you can do right when you wake up and roll out of bed. Uh, we're not going to be doing any sun salutations to really get the body that powered up. We're just going to be wiggling into some of the cobwebs and some of the pockets of tension that we may have had enter into our body from last night's sleep. So you can do this on the floor in your room. You don't really need a yoga mat. You can kind of lay out a blanket, especially if you have a hard floor underneath you. You don't need any kind of special props. You really don't even need a mat to move into these kind of movements, but you just need yourself and you just need a fresh mind ready to start your day. So we're going to get started in a child's pose. So this is where if you have a hard floor underneath you, you'll want some kind of blanket or something under your knees. Find your way onto hands and knees and let your knees come out as wide as a yoga mat, so a little wider than your hips, and let your big toes touch. We're not going to drop back down quite yet, but we're just going to start to get some wiggles into the hips, a little sway side to side. You might even begin to drop your head and neck and just get a little soft sway and movement going into the body. Be really intuitive with your movements. Maybe you favor the hips over the head, maybe vice versa. And eventually we'll begin to let the hips sink down towards the heels. Now, as the hips sink down towards the heels, if your low back is experiencing a lot of tension, you can start to walk the knees in a little closer. If it's the hips, then you can start to keep your legs just where they are or let them grow a little wider. Now, just drop your forearms down. We don't have to walk the hands towards the front of the mat. We're going to let the chin soften in towards the chest. Find this sense of freedom in the back of the neck. If you are practicing on your mat and have props nearby, you can always use a block to support your head. Otherwise, you can bring your elbows down to the ground, interlace your fingers, and let your thumbs kind of just settle into the creases of where your eyes and the bridge of your nose meet. And just give a little sway of the head side to side. At the same time, you get this little massage into the eyes. One of the favorite things that we do when we wake up is kind of rub our eyes, right? Get the eye boogers out from the corners. And then release the hands back down. Maybe the head wants to come all the way towards the mat. If not, you can always stack forearms and begin to breathe into the back of the body. And don't worry about your breath being super deep. If it's more shallow, we're just waking up. We're just starting to become mindful of the breath. Maybe you notice little cracks of tension starting to fill with breath and with light. And personally, I'm a side sleeper, so I usually have a lot of tension in my upper back, my mid back area. So I love to just kind of pause in the space and envision my breath wrapping around my upper back body. So perhaps you give that a try. I'll be here for about 3 more rounds of breath, just noticing where it's traveling to and from. Let's start to find your hands underneath your shoulders. And press yourself up and navigate to a tabletop position, letting the wrists become aligned with your shoulders and letting the knees become aligned with your hips. Allow the tops of the feet to press into the ground or the mat below, and the fingers to spread really wide. On an inhale, let the belly soften down as the tail reaches up towards the sky. The heart slowly leads towards the front of the room. The shoulders draw down the back body. We're going to pause here in this Vidalasana cow pose. Just let your belly feel free. Let this mimic the shape of a smile. But in the spine, yeah, we're starting to awaken your inner organs and just start to get movement into the spine. On your next exhale, press into the tops of the feet. Let the tail tuck underneath you as you press the ground away. The chin softens in towards the chest. The head hangs heavy as the ground is being pushed away from you in your Marjariasana, your cat pose. Hollowing out the front belly and just starting to awaken the space in between the shoulder blades. You can invite a very gentle, soft nod and shake of the head, yes and no. Saying good morning to the neck. Good. And on your next inhale, come through center. Let the belly soften down as the tail reaches up. The heart reaches through your upper arms, coming back to that smile with the spine. And as you exhale, rounding through once again. So all of our bodies are different. Take the next 10 breaths to play with these cat cows, or stay with one for a few breaths, stay with the other for the rest. Or maybe you favor a different movement. Maybe you want to come back to those hip sways side to side. Maybe you get those head circles back into the picture. This is a very intuitive and kind of free flowing style of waking up movement. So there's no right, there's no wrong. If you're already starting to feel a lot of tension into the wrist, you can come onto the fist. You can always come back to a child's pose. Get about 3 to 4 more rounds of breath. And we'll make our way back through that tabletop position. From tabletop position, tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back for just a brief downward facing dog, pedaling the feet and the legs out, looking forward, and just starting to walk your feet forward, tiptoeing your way there. So you don't have to create this big step. Again, it's still early on in the morning. Wake up with kindness and compassion for yourself. Find yourself in a fold, the feet about hip width apart. You can always widen for more stability. Hands can stay on the ground, especially if you are someone who doesn't have the greatest balance, especially when waking up in the morning. And allow the head to soften down towards the ground. Say good morning to the backs of the heels, the Achilles tendons, the calves, the backs of the knees, the hamstrings, into the glutes, into the low back, and feel that all roll down the spine, out the crown of the head. The deeper the bend in the knees, the more support the chest will have, the more support the torso will have. And you can stay here in a still space, or you can start to come back to that rocking, maybe grabbing opposite elbows and finding a sway side to side, mimicking a pendulum. If you have a lot of tension in the body from last night, or if you're already starting to think about your to do list for the day, perhaps welcoming in clearing breaths in through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth. We've got 2 more breaths in this space. From here, release your left fingertips down to the ground in front of your face. Have a big bend into the knees. And on an inhale, reach your right arm up towards the sky as the right arm or as the right leg begins to straighten, just coming into some rotation of the spine while opening up through the shoulder and the chest. Reaching the fingers high. And as you exhale, release the right fingertips down. Slow movement. Bend into the knees with the inhale, straighten the left leg, float the left arm high towards the sky. We'll do that 2 more times on each side. So as you exhale, the left fingers come down, the left knee bends, the right arm rises, the right leg straightens. As you exhale, right fingers come down, Right knee bends, left arm floats. One more round after this. When you've completed that last round, we'll release both hands down to the ground. Keep that big bend in your knees as you slowly rise all the way up to a standing position. And as you slowly rise up, roll the shoulders up, back, and down 3 times. On the inhale, the shoulders peek up towards the ears. As you exhale, you draw them back and down. Good. And then from this standing position, we're going to end with some wiggles. This is one of my favorite go-tos just to kind of get the body going, get the juices flowing. So it's nice to be in a space where you kind of have this space to yourself. But if someone is nearby, you can invite them to join in. There's no right or wrong. You're just going to find yourself in a position where the feet are stable. And we're just going to start by letting the heels lift up off the ground, and then you kind of drop them into the earth. And then from here, let the knees bend a little more. Find buoyancy in the legs, maybe a little side to side sway. You can sing your favorite song. You could turn on your favorite song. And we're just going to kind of move up the body, letting the torso kind of sway side to side. Maybe one heel lifts as the leg bends. And then start to get the shoulders involved. See, it's okay if you move up and down your mat. It's okay if you circle around your room. Again, no right, no wrong. We all sleep different ways. So if you want to just keep your feet planted and just start to shake, that's fine too. Start to roll out your wrists, kind of bend and straighten your elbows, and then just wiggle out the body. Let the body begin to take over with this free kind of movement. It can look funny and silly. You can laugh at yourself. You can smile at yourself. You can know that you're doing something really good for yourself to start your day off. Let out some sighs. If you need that extra sense of release, be doing this for about 1 more minute. So you can let your arms start to come up, wiggling out your wrists, maybe even flicking out your fingers, maybe starting to lift a leg and flick out your foot and your toes. No, it's a lot harder to flick your toes, but if you can do that, kudos to you. Again, just keep moving. You want to jump, shoot, you might even want to do a jumping jack. So just get the body moving in any way that feels good. 30 more seconds. Just working to let the body start to drop back down to a softer movement. And then we'll come to a position where we can stand up nice and tall, feet hip width apart, roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Let the palms come to touch in front of the heart space. And just be here with the sensation. Maybe notice the beating of your heart as it picked up a little bit. From when you first rolled out of bed, how does the body feel? Even if it's shifted just a tiny bit, give thanks and gratitude and honor for just taking a few moments to yourself to get on your mat and to get into your body and start to ground into your day right from the start. I'll leave you in the space here, inviting you to set an intention that you can take with you off the mat today and into your day. Let it be a simple word or phrase that'll be your compass towards the light within. And thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and subscribe to my channel if you're someone who is passionate about discovering that inner light and the vibrancy that we can create to have a peaceful and welcoming environment within, all whilst getting the benefits of yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. I hope to see you on the mat soon. Namaste.